Coming up on 60 Minutes. The adventure of a lifetime that ended in tragedy.
People have died and someone's responsible.
The heartbroken parents of Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles.
We want justice.
Now demanding answers about why their daughters were given drinks laced with deadly methanol.
We can't have another family go through what we've all gone through.
Next. Good evening and welcome to the 47th season of 60 Minutes. I'm Tara Brown. Tonight, a special edition of the program. Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles knew each other their entire lives. Closer or more loving friends you couldn't find. Last November, the two 19-year-olds from Melbourne did what hundreds of thousands of young people the world over do every year. They went backpacking through Asia. But in communist Laos, they struck trouble. Adventure turned to tragedy when Bianca and Holly inadvertently consumed alcohol tainted with deadly methanol. Days later, both lost their lives. And so did four others who drank from the same batch of bad spirits. How could this happen and who's responsible are the first of many questions that must be answered. And tonight, with help from Bianca's and Holly's parents, as well as the families of the other victims, we try to do just that. They had an insatiable appetite for life. Melbourne teens Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones were the best of friends. Inseparable since the day they were born. At 19, the pair had the world at their feet, and in step, they wanted to explore every corner, share every adventure together.
You spill that anywhere on my bed.
Were they like sisters who actually liked each other?
Definitely. Definitely, yeah. Both very strong-willed, very smart, independent, both of them. And they laughed a lot.
Yeah.
They laughed a lot. Yeah.
These friends were impatient to join the backpacker pilgrimage along the banana pancake trail of Southeast Asia, where the breathtaking adventure playground of Vung Vieng in Laos beckoned. Bianca's mum and dad, Michelle and Mark Jones, and Holly's parents, Sam and Sean Bowles, recognised their travel bug.
She was just really so excited to see other parts of the world and experience new things, make some amazing memories. She just wanted to do it. It was in her for a long time. She always spoke about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you concerned at all about the destination?
No.
No, it never concerned us because we've been there, we've travelled extensively through Southeast Asia, so.
And Holly's smart. She knew how to take care of herself. You know, she was counting down the days, she was working really hard, she finished uni, and yeah, she was just saving every bit of money so she could go over there.
What an exciting time. When I travelled, I had the best time of my life. So I was thrilled that she was starting to, do what I did.
In November, Bianca left to join her.
I was so happy for her. She was so excited. But I just didn't think that, she wasn't going to come back.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
When she walked through the gates to the departure lounge, I was counting down the days when we're going to see her again.
Do you remember your last conversation with her?
Yeah. I said, let's take a selfie. And she said, bugger off, Dad. It was the last conversation I had with her.
Yeah.
Having been apart for a mere but obviously torturous 2 months, Holly and Bianca's reunion at the airport in Laos was priceless.
It's the best. It's the best. The squeals. So happy to be with each other. Oh.
Bianca joined Holly at the Nana Backpackers Hostel in Vung Vieng on November the 4th. And for the next 8 days, it seems they'd found the fun and adventure they were looking for.
Today we're at the If you know us, you know we can't go longer than like 3 days without fire stuff.
They were just having the time of their lives. They really were. And you could see that.
At almost the same time, almost the exact experience was unfolding across the world in Denmark. 2 childhood friends and 2 sets of parents helping their daughters prepare for their dream trip.
But they're on the entire trip. They have a big smile on them.
Yes.
Every message they have,
picture.
every video, everything was happy thoughts.
Didier Koyman and Anne-Marie Orkild's daughter, Anne-Sophie, and Karsten and Rika Sorensen's daughter, Freya, were also on their way to Laos and to the very same backpacking hostel the Australians were staying in.
And as she was going off, she, we asked her, could you, just keep in touch with us, show us what's going on and so forth. And she made the classical comment, that you and I both know that's not going to happen. But within no time, she started uploading pictures. I think because the experiences were so big, she wanted to share them.
Yeah, you must be grateful for those now.
Definitely, definitely.
And with the enthusiasm she had, the lust and life, she was so excited about everything. This was really the trip of her life.
Anne-Sophie, 20, and 21-year-old Freya went to school together, flattered together in Copenhagen, and always wanted to travel together. Neither was aware of the danger that awaited them, or the unthinkable heartache that was to come. In Laos, along with the 2 Australian girls, the Danish pair was given drinks laced with methanol. It was a deadly brew that would claim the lives of all 4 girls, along with 2 other unsuspecting backpackers.
This is young people we are speaking about. This is people with a life ahead of them. Now, our girl will never be more than 20. So her life has stopped because of a situation that could easily have been avoided and should not have happened.
It's still hard to believe she's not coming home. You wake up every morning, expecting her to walk out of the room.
You guys have been through hell, haven't you?
It's been pretty tough.
It's an agony mirrored around the globe. In the UK, Sue White is in mourning, having just held her daughter's funeral. 28-year-old Simone also fell victim to tainted alcohol. At the same time and in the same place, as the young Australian and Danish women.
Just sort of having the best time, you know, it's an absolutely fantastic holiday, and that's the last message I got from her. And that was on the Tuesday, probably early evening, Laos time, you know, just before this incident occurred. You know, she messaged me as it was all happening, but that was the final message I got from her.
In a strikingly similar story, Simone was travelling with her longtime friend Bethany Clark. But in a fateful twist, while Bethany drank the same amount of alcohol served at their hostel as Simone, unlike Simone and the others, she somehow, incredibly, survived.
Yes, keep smile.
Has anyone explained to you, Bethany, why you survived and your friend didn't? Now closed down and locked up, the Nana Backpackers Hostel here in Vung Vieng, Laos, was the epicentre of a methanol poisoning cluster last year that resulted in the shock deaths of 6 people, including Australian girls Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles, British lawyer Simone White, and Danish friends Freya Sorensen and Anne-Sophie Orkild-Koiman, as well as the hospitalisation of many more. That so many people were poisoned suggests this was not an isolated drink spiking incident. But while no one in Laos has officially explained how the drinks came to be adulterated by deadly methanol, there are some common threads that point to the poisoning at least occurring at Nana's Backpackers Hostel. For one, all the people who were affected were staying there, and on November the 12th last year, they were all drinking there, after the hostel handed out 100 free shots of whiskey and vodka.
I had no idea what it was. I'd never heard of methanol poisoning before, and had no idea and understanding certainly of what implications were.
Yeah, we do. Is this like a really big one? I think it's a decent sized one.
And according to Mark and Michelle Jones, their daughter, 19-year-old Bianca, and her travelling companion, Holly Bowles, also 19, knew nothing of the danger they were in.
What it can do to your body is incredible. It's just so lethal.
In this cruel lottery of life and death, the stakes are stacked in favour of methanol. As New South Wales University clinical toxicologist Dr. Darren Roberts warns, it's invisible and tasteless. A minuscule amount will blind you. A single serve of spirits will likely be deadly.
30 mils is the fatal amount that will kill someone if they don't get help fast enough.
That's one shot.
One shot to die, 2 teaspoons to have severe lifelong injuries.
You could either have vodka shots or whiskey shots, but we didn't drink them as shots, we'd had them as mixers.
British backpacker Bethany Clark was also at the Nana Hostel that night. So were you aware of methanol poisoning being a danger?
No, not really. I just knew that you could get bad alcohol that could make you get a bad hangover. That's as far as it went, really.
This CCTV footage captures Bethany and her childhood friend Simone White poolside at their hostel. The English girls unaware they were about to play Russian roulette. 27-year-old Bethany had been on a working holiday in Brisbane when Simone, 28, convinced her to go to Laos.
We'd had a really good day. We'd done the tubing, which is where you go down the river on those inflatable rings, which was fun.
Sitting alongside Simone's mum, Sue, Bethany explains, on the night of Tuesday the 12th of November, she and Simone joined partygoers at their hostel for free drinks, where they each were given 5 or 6 shots. Did you see the bottles that the alcohol was being poured from?
Yeah.
Did they seem legitimate?
If it looked dodgy, I wouldn't have drunk it. I mean, we went up to the bar and I watched him pour them out from a glass bottle with a vodka label on it. I knew it would have been a local spirit. I wouldn't expect it to be an international spirit.
You don't question it, do you, really, if you're on holiday? You know, you just, if it's come out of a bottle with a label on it, you just assume that's what's in the bottle.
You can't, because they might just be filling it up, take the lid off, screw it off, put something else in.
Yeah.
Saves costs.
Yeah.
The next morning, Bethany and Simone both started to feel unwell, sharing some of the same symptoms, including an unshakable lethargy that stopped them from panicking and had doctors convinced they were drug users. As a survivor, Bethany's account of what happened next gives rare insight into what methanol poisoning can do. And how bad were you starting to feel at this point?
Not that bad. I didn't think anything was gonna, I didn't think anything really bad was gonna happen.
But you think now that's the effect of the actual poisoning?
100%, yeah. I know Simone would have been feeling the same. You just physically can't move. It's like you're more or less paralysed. You can still walk, but everything is much, much, much more difficult than it would be ordinarily. But yeah, mainly fatigue, nausea. I fainted.
The girls were taken to hospital by fellow travellers, where Simone's condition worsened. Along with the fatigue, she suffered multiple seizures and could no longer breathe on her own.
On the Friday, I got a phone call at 2 in the morning from the hospital. Like, Bethany was on the other end of the line, you know, with the doctor or the surgeon, and she just said, you need to give your consent for brain surgery or basically Simone's not going to make it.
Getting a phone call like you did from Bethany, sorry to use a cliche, but is that every parent's worst nightmare, to learn that your daughter's in trouble overseas?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just absolutely dreadful, just dreadful. Well, yeah, it's probably the worst experience of my life. It was just absolutely horrific.
Sue raced to Laos. It was a terrifying and lonely flight from London, a terror shared by our Australian families, Sam and Sean Bowles and Mark and Michelle Jones, as they too made the Mercy Dash from Melbourne to be with their daughters Holly and Bianca. All they knew was their girls had been taken to a local hospital.
I got a call that the girls were in trouble, a lot of trouble.
What was your instant feeling when you heard that they were in trouble?
I thought something was really wrong. Yeah, something in my gut just said something is not right here.
Then, just before their flight, these shell-shocked parents were told their daughters needed the care of a better hospital in Thailand. But the ambulance transfer did not offer peace of mind. It posed a deadly threat. The doctors warned the 19-year-olds were at risk of cardiac arrest and may not make it. They couldn't, however, yet tell the families what had led to this medical emergency. What did you think was going on? I mean, at this point, did you have any idea of what could have caused that?
No idea. I didn't. I really didn't know. And my whole, I guess, being was just sort of focused on, please just let her be okay. Please just let her be alive. And that's sort of all I could think was just let her be alive. Whatever happens, we can work through it. You know, I just need her to be alive.
Yeah, it was just an 8-hour flight that felt like 38 hours. It just took so long.
And did you know or not know if it was related to drinking?
No.
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
No.
Gosh, it must have been so confusing for
It
you.
was.
It was incredibly confusing.
British mum, Sue White, got to the Laos hospital with only moments to spare before her unconscious daughter, Simone, was wheeled into brain surgery. But doctors were unable to save the talented and beautiful 28-year-old.
Literally kept her on the ventilator. And it was only, you know, when I kind of said, I just can't do this any longer.
Emotionally, it had taken its toll by that point, hadn't it?
Exactly.
We just really were at the end of our...
And they kind of came back to me about an hour later and said, oh, OK, well, if you want to, you can turn the ventilator off yourself.
That must have been so difficult.
Then she still had the tube in her mouth. I then had to take the tube out of her mouth. It was just absolutely terrible. It was just so traumatic.
Bethany Clark is now back in Britain mourning the harrowing death of her friend. Quite remarkably, she has made a full physical recovery, despite drinking the same number of drinks as Simone. It just happened in Simone's drinks there must have been a higher concentration of methanol. The tragic difference between life and death.
Yeah, could have easily been me.
Has that been a struggle, coming to terms with the fact that you made it and Simone didn't?
Yeah, it has. I think we've just had to try and get through the funeral, and obviously we want to try and spread awareness and make sure other people don't have to go through this. And then I can sort of start on my own journey of trying to come to terms with it all.
Coming up, the incredible highs and lows of the international effort to try to save our Australian girls.
And it was this moment of just cheering and go Holly, and then we just saw the helicopter flying above, and Holly was on her way.
Today we're at the
Friends since they were babies, 19-year-old Melbourne girls Bianca Jones and Holly Bowles were living their dream of travelling through Southeast Asia. Their route was the well-worn backpacking path to Laos, but the deadly threat of methanol poisoning was not on their radar, according to Bianca's mum and dad, Michelle and Mark Jones.
They weren't doing anything wrong. They were having a drink, having fun. And yeah, there's no way to determine if there is methanol in a drink. So it's very much a silent killer.
This silent killer stole the lives of Bianca and Holly Bowles in November last year. Holly's parents, Sam and Sean, say their clever and careful daughter couldn't protect herself against a danger she didn't know about. Any of us could be Holly.
Any traveller from any country.
Any parent could be you guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Going through the same loss.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
And they are driving the doom buggies.
And in Denmark, that unthinkable pain is being shared by another 2 sets of broken parents. Like the Australian girls, longtime friends Anne-Sophie Orkild-Koiman and Freya Sorensen had travelled to Vung Vieng, Laos. The girls, aged 20 and 21, booked into the very same hostel. And according to Anne-Sophie's father, Didier, on November 12th, joined other backpackers at the bar. Like Didier, Freya's mum and dad, Riker and Karsten, heard nothing for the next 3 days. Then came the call every parent dreads. When did you first know that there was something wrong?
Well, another backpacker involved here, a Belgian backpacker, was planning to meet the girls, and he raised alarm when he couldn't find the girls, and he had found out that there was some info about a girl being brought to a clinic in a coma, and so he raised the alarm, and that was raised to us on the Saturday morning, that something was amiss here.
That backpacker tracked Anne-Sophie's last steps to a local hospital.
At 5:30, Miss Anna-Sophie, Denmark. That's her weight and everything. Coma, the state, coma again.
But of Freya, there was no record.
Even that's a slim hope. The hope was that she was also in coma or something like that, and incapacitated, not be able to phone us, because otherwise, of course, she would have reached out.
It's only in retrospect and with the help of an American backpacker that Anne-Sophie's parents learned what happened to their daughter after her night at the hostel bar.
She did vomit and then fell on the bath floor, at seizures mostly and cramping.
And the American girl is trying to get help from the hostel, and they didn't even get a ambulance to bring them to the hospital. So Sophie was brought to the local hospital by taxi. And I think that it was too late for her when they found her. Yeah.
That same backpacker returned to the hostel and discovered Fryer, who was now also sick. The Good Samaritan then took the disorientated 21-year-old to the same medical clinic.
And then at this point, Fryer's also starting to be confused, eyes rolling and so forth. And that's the last known point of contact that at least we're aware that anybody has had with her.
How hard is that not to know all the details that led to your daughter's death?
The worst time of my life, actually.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all about your daughter being, hurt or in distress and not being able to be there, which is kind of the thing that at least is the most important part for me to kind of get my head around.
Meanwhile, the Australian parents, Mark and Michelle Jones and Sam and Sean Bowles, had made the desperate flight to be with their girls, who by now had been moved across the border to a Thai hospital in Udon Thani. But the scene that awaited them was beyond distressing. Toxicology tests confirmed methanol poisoning, and both girls were given just a 1% chance of survival.
Just seeing the girls on the ventilators and just all the tubes attached to them, and it was just not what anyone would ever like to see their child.
It's just something that you never expect to happen. Yeah, it was just horrible.
When you get news that your daughter has a 1% chance of surviving, what do you do? What are you thinking? How are you feeling?
Well, I still thought that it was a 1%. I had to pray that it was 1%.
You don't give up hope at that time? Against the odds, doctors in Thailand were doing all they could to save the girls. They wanted to move them to the capital, to a state-of-the-art hospital in Bangkok. But only Holly was judged stable enough to survive the medical airlift. For their parents, it was a wrenching parting of two girls who had grown up doing almost everything together.
Michelle and Mark and I were just saying goodbye. And we heard the helicopter going over, and we ran to the balcony. And it was this moment, the three of us were just cheering, and go Holly, go Holly. And Mark calls her H. Go H, go H. And we just saw the helicopter going above, and Holly was on her way.
What did you think that airlift was going to deliver?
When we saw the chopper go past, we were thinking that with better care, might come some better results.
Yeah.
It just wasn't to be.
No.
No.
Wasn't to be for either of them, unfortunately.
Bianca's doctor told Mark and Michelle their daughter had severe swelling on the brain. And a week later, the news only got worse.
He sat us down again and said the brain has continued to swell. She's like... We'll be calling her medically brain dead. So yeah, then we made the decision to turn off all the life support. And then we said our final goodbye.
And then she just passed away in my arms.
The very next day, on November 22nd, Holly Bowles also lost her life.
In a way, we were fortunate to be there with Holly when she passed, which we'll forever be grateful for. And to not have that would have been just heartbreaking. It really would have been.
Got to brush Holly's hair, hold her hands, just hold her. We got to be in the same room with her. Yeah.
You got to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We did. Yeah.
I keep thinking she would be coming to our door and say, "Hello, here I am." I was just away. So for me, it's not sunk in yet.
Riker and Carsten Sorensen and the other Danish family were heartlessly denied a last sacred farewell because Laos officials didn't consider the deaths of daughters Freya and Anne-Sophie Orkild-Koiman worthy enough to notify them. On learning from a fellow backpacker the girls were in trouble, their families frantically mobilised a long-distance search, unaware their cherished children had already died 3 days earlier.
How can your kid be dead 3 days and you still have absolutely no information? I don't know. I don't understand. When I was there, all of her belongings were sitting in a police office, so they can't just say they didn't know.
Did they offer any reason for why they didn't contact you?
No. Not at all.
Not at all.
Danish police delivered the tragic news to both families, who, as Anne-Sophie's father Didier explains, were up until that point still hopeful of finding their girls alive.
You feel at both times you feel very anxious, but at the same time you have that hope that says she's going to be okay. So I'm the one who basically went opening the door when it rang. And when I saw the police, I mean, I knew it was the end.
And in that moment, did your world just collapse?
Completely. I think my wife heard me and probably most of Roskilde heard me screaming.
Yeah.
But as you'll see, there's more secrecy and lies.
No, that's not what happened. She was poisoned, clearly.
Why these grieving families have much to be angry about. Are you confident that the Lao government is investigating?
Confident? No. Confident would be a gross overstatement.
It's a poignant and heartbreaking moment. As her beloved dog keeps guard, the body of Bianca Jones and her best friend Holly Bowles brought home for the final time. The 19-year-olds had left Melbourne for Laos last year, impatient for the adventure ahead. They returned as victims of a senseless and unforeseen misadventure. The two teenagers making up a fatal cluster of 6 backpackers killed by methanol served in their drinks at their Nana Backpackers Hostel. But in total, 6 people died?
Yeah.
What was that like to learn?
Horrible.
Yeah, horrific.
Bianca's parents, Michelle and Mark Jones, were at their daughter's hospital bedside when they saw the rising death toll on social media.
All of a sudden we saw the 2 Danish ladies first, and then the young British lawyer, and then
The
American
Yeah.
gentleman. It was horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah, to know that this has affected more people than just us. It's horrible.
But despite the unthinkable body count, 2.5 months on, so little is still known about the poisoning cluster and who is responsible for it. While it seems the tainted drinks were served at the backpacker hostel, it remains unclear where the dodgy alcohol came from, the bar itself or the distillery where it was made. And was the poisoning deliberate or a mistake born out of negligence and poor regulation? Clearly, it's critical information.
So there is a feeling of a cover-up instead of taking immediate action. Was it a mistake for distillery? Was it intent? Was it done by purpose? There was no information coming out at that time.
And there's still none.
And there's still none.
And there's still none, to be honest.
Anne-Marie Orkild and Didier Koyman lost their daughter Anne-Sophie in the mass methanol poisoning. Their anger at Laos officials is matched by the other families. And like all of them, Holly's parents, Sam and Sean Bowles, can still only guess at how this tragedy unfolded. How do you believe that alcohol was tainted with methanol?
It's just, it's still so raw for us. But my understanding is that you make cheap alcohol. It's like moonshine, homemade alcohol, backyard stuff, and it's cheap. So that's my understanding of it.
Do you think Holly would have drunk it if she'd known it was moonshine?
No. Absolutely not.
The Nana Backpacker Hostel has since been closed down and 8 staff were initially detained, but beyond that, nothing else of the investigation is known.
I cannot have my daughter's passing not mean anything.
Are you confident that the Lao government is investigating and that they will keep you abreast of everything they know and let you know the details of what led to your daughter's death?
Confident? No. We've heard nothing, so I can't be confident about anything. Yeah, confident would be a gross overstatement. Hoping.
The Lao government sent their condolences via the federal police, and that to us means nothing. Mm. Nothing at all. For them not to reach out that's just not good enough.
And are you confident that they are investigating?
No. No.
The family's scepticism is well-founded. Last November, in a letter to our Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, the Lao government did express its profound sadness over the deaths. And it said it was investigating the cause of the incident to bring perpetrators to justice. But so far, despite those words, there has been very little action. When we tried to go to Laos to find out why, we were denied access to the country because they claimed the case is still being worked on. More significantly and cruelly, no Lao officials will meet with the devastated families, not even in private. Do you feel isolated and forgotten in some way in Denmark?
We have no contact whatsoever to the authorities in Laos. No reach out, no contact whatsoever.
Danish couple Karsten and Rika Sorensen's daughter Freya died in Laos. Now they're galvanising their anger and disappointment with the Lao government to travel from Denmark to Melbourne. Waiting to meet them are the shattered Melbourne parents of Holly and Bianca. This Danish couple has come a long way to break the Laos strategy of silence, hoping that by speaking as one, these families can intensify the pressure on Laos to act.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Sam.
Sure, nice to meet you, Cass. How are you?
Nice to meet you. I'm Michelle. I'm Sam. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Michelle.
In these first solemn moments, their unspoken suffering is plain to see.
Thanks for coming out here.
Yeah.
Seeing us. Thank you. It really means the world.
Yeah.
They don't need words to know each other's pain.
Trying to get our head around it, but it is.
It still feels very surreal.
Yeah.
But they have plenty to say about how let down they feel and how much they want justice for their daughters.
We haven't heard anything from the Lao government. Not a thing.
Neither have we.
It's appalling.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are they still holding people? Are they still looking for people? It seems, to me, it seems like a complete cover-up.
They want the communist state of Laos to be transparent in its investigation and to be dedicated to finding justice for their daughters.
It just goes to show that it's a closed country, and they don't want the dialogue. They don't want openness around it. That comes across very strongly for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they're stalling it, and they want people to forget it.
Yep. Yeah. We won't forget, and we will absolutely make sure that they are accountable for the loss of our daughters, and make sure that we, to your point, other people don't suffer what we've suffered.
Yeah.
Their suffering has been endless, particularly for the Danish families who have been treated heartlessly. Firstly, Lao officials didn't bother to tell them their daughters, Anne Sophie and Freya, had died, despite having their passports and contact details. Then, on making the distressing journey to Laos to collect his daughter's body, Karsten discovered Freya's cause of death was false. There was no mention of methanol poisoning. Her death certificate stated the 21-year-old had died of natural causes.
It was kind of, this is it, take it, and this, you want your daughter home, this is it. And we had the priorities in place from the beginning. The first priority was get her home, no matter what. It seems a bit like this methanol poisoning is being swept under the rug and not being something that is being acknowledged.
And it was the same for Didier Koyman, who says daughter Anne Sophie's cause of death was also concocted.
I was put into of force to basically accept a cause of a death which wasn't correct. And that was also extremely hard for me to just say, no, that's not what happened. You're forcing me to say that she had a heart failure. No, she did not. She was poisoned, clearly.
Next, in their daughters' names, the fight to save other lives.
I just can't have anybody else go through this. This is just the worst.
Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones are fighting for their lives in Thailand.
Melbourne backpackers poisoned in Laos.
When news broke late last year that 2 Australian girls, poisoned in Laos, were hanging onto life by just a tiny thread,
Holly was airlifted to Bangkok.
It felt like the nation was collectively willing them to make it through.
It wasn't just family and friends, it was everyone, it was the community.
To learn that Michelle and Mark's 19-year-old daughter, Bianca Jones, had succumbed to the deadly effects of methanol was gut-wrenching.
Bianca Jones has lost her life. Our first thoughts...
From the Prime Minister to Pearl Jam.
The one young woman, Bianca Jones.
The sadness and support was felt by all, and all hope was now resting on Holly Bowles.
We wish her the best, and we're thinking about the parents.
But it was not to be. The following day, November 22nd, 19-year-old Holly also died with her mum and dad, Sam and Sean, by her side.
The support we had from Australia, Canada, where Sam's from, it was overwhelming.
I found comfort in that, I really did, and I was very grateful.
Across Australia, our hearts broke for you.
It was like everyone was giving us a massive, massive hug, and just, it was really beautiful.
2.5 months on, these families, friends before their daughters were even born, are still adjusting to their unimaginable loss. A loss shared across the world, in the US, UK and Denmark.
I don't think you will understand the loss of a daughter unless you have experienced it yourself.
Didier Koyman and Anne-Marie Orkild. Rika and Karsten Sorensen. And Sue White have united with Sam and Sean Bowles and Michelle and Mark Jones to speak out in their daughters' names. To warn others against the danger of inadvertently drinking deadly methanol, to avoid its senseless toll.
We just say they're together now. Forever. Yeah.
Please be, take precautions, travel insurance, travel together, avoid local alcohol, be aware of the consequences and seek help if needed, and be very proactive in seeking help. I mean, that's the message that I really want to get out there.
And to the Laos officials, a final plea to take methanol poisoning seriously.
We want some form of closure. We want to understand that people who have done wrong by our daughter and Ollie and the other people are going to be brought to justice.
Because we can't have another family go through what we've all gone through. It's just horrendous. I just can't have anybody else go through this. This is just the worst.
What most people don't realise is just how many travellers die from methanol poisoning in some of our favourite holiday destinations, in Bali and across the rest of Indonesia, Vietnam, India, Iran, and most recently Turkey, where last month, after one event, more than 30 people perished. The great danger for travellers like Holly Bowles and Bianca Jones is these deadly spirits are made to look like the real stuff, allowing death to shadow the most innocent fun.
If this gets parents to have a conversation with their kids if they're off travelling, then that's something, I guess, but it doesn't, at the end of the day, it doesn't make us feel any better at the moment.
You just want your girl back, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The treatment the families have received from the Lao government is beyond disappointing. They're owed and deserve much better. And that's our program for tonight. But before we go, a reminder to catch up on stories you've missed and to check out the 60 Minutes 24/7 channel. Head to 9 Now. This week's 60 Minutes podcast, Extra Minutes, looks at the growing worldwide crisis of alcohol being contaminated with deadly methanol. But yeah, it's a danger that people do not know about. It's invisible, it's tasteless, it mimics alcohol, and yet the tiniest amount can just destroy your life. That's Extra Minutes, available now on your favourite podcast apps. Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.